Hello, I'm Fred Hornaday, and these are a few of my favorite bamboos. I always wanted to say that. Welcome back to Bamboo Batu. Today we are talking about some of my favorite bamboo species. And these are just a handful of really cool, exotic, interesting, some of them more common than others, bamboo species. No real specific criteria went into the selection of these, but I'll just talk about them one by one. And hopefully you'll find some interesting species that you might want to plant in your yard. So the first one, we're going to go with an old favorite, Bambusa oldhamii. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's an old favorite of everyone's. Bambusa oldhamii grows really well. It grows really big. This is kind of an interesting close-up view here of the photo with the culm sheath peeling off on that fresh shoot. And you can see the powdery white stuff that was under the sheath. And then you can see the older culm next to it turning yellow. Not a real typical view of this bamboo, and it doesn't even really showcase what a cool bamboo variety that it is. But it usually grows like 50, 60, maybe more feet tall, about 60 feet tall. And it grows pretty well in warmer climates. Bambusa is a subtropical genus, so it doesn't need a real tropical environment, but it grows really well in California, for example, where freezing is rare but not unheard of. So it can handle some cooler temperatures in the winter. If it drops down into the 20s, it's pretty okay. But it's not a cold hardy one. You can't really grow it in Michigan or someplace where it's going to snow or get a deep freeze for a week or something like that. But overnight frosts in the winter are fine. So it grows well in mild climates, and it's very impressive. It's got really nice big culms. It grows in a dense clump, so it doesn't spread and take over, something a lot of gardeners are afraid of before they plant bamboo. So all around, really good species. Good for building too. It's good quality poles. Not the number one best construction species of bamboo, but pretty good for building purposes. Thick, strong, and resistant to cracking. So it's a good one. The next one we have, this one is a mouthful. I'm always afraid to pronounce it. Phyllostachys viridiglaucensis, something like that. Usually, I think they call it green waxy bamboo. This one is interesting because it's not that common in the U.S. It seems to be more popular in Europe, but it's a running bamboo. It's a temperate bamboo, like all Phyllostachys, so it does handle the cold, freezing winters. And it's got really big, tall, very straight poles, very upright. So it has a very regal appearance. Looks really nice, really pretty. Lots of green leaves on it. Nice shade of green on the culms too. It's kind of a different shade of green, it seems like, than other bamboos. So it's kind of distinctive in that respect. In the U.S., it's more popular to grow. It's like vivax is a big timber variety of Phyllostachys. There's vivax. There's henon. Henon is kind of similar to this as far as the size. Also, there's Japanese timber bamboo, Phyllostachys bambusoides, kind of similar to this, but this one's interesting. It's distinct. It's unusual, and again, it's really good for building because the culms are nearly solid on this. They're not completely solid like some bamboo poles, or most bamboo poles, as you know, probably know, are hollow in the middle. There's a handful that are not solid. I mean, that are not hollow. Excuse me, that are solid in the middle. These are almost solid, so there's a small hole going down the middle, and maybe at the base of the culm, close to the ground, it might be solid all the way through. But in any case, it makes for a very strong pole, good for building, and that straightness too also makes it good for different building applications. So it's pretty, it's useful, and good in cold winters. Very cold hardy variety. Here's one that is not so cold hardy. This is a picture from some friends of mine in Portugal at the bamboo park down there. Bambusa chungii, also known as blue bamboo, blue tropical bamboo. Uh, Really cool looking. You can see why this made it on the top 10 list. Just that powdery blue shade of the bamboo culms there. It's really pretty, and you can see the color is really distinct on the fresh shoots there on the left side of the picture. The young culms really like powdery blue. Uh, I mean, yeah. What else can I say? It's clearly a beautiful species of bamboo. It is a clumper. It is pretty tropical. Some bambusas are more tropical than others. This one is not so cold hardy. It's not going to do well in the frosty climates. I've never seen it growing in California. More common in places that are pretty warm all year round. Florida, South Florida, for example. This, like I said, this picture came from southern Portugal, so very unlikely to be freezing there. It might dip a couple degrees below freezing, once or twice a year, and that's not going to kill it. But the less frost, the better. And the poles are big too. It gets pretty tall. I think this one gets like maybe 40 or 50 feet tall, and just a striking addition to any garden. Another favorite of mine, square bamboo. How cool is that? Chimono Bambusa quadrangularis. It's also super fun to say. Takes a little practice, but um, give it a few tries and it'll be rolling off the tongue. So square bamboo is like the name suggests, quadrangularis. It has four corners, so it's hard to tell in the picture. But if you roll it around in your finger, between your finger and your thumb, you'll notice that it's not like totally round. It's got corners. It's got angles. It's square. It's squarish. They're not like sharp corners, obviously, but they are. It is angular. It's squarish, and it's pretty interesting. And on the nodes, also, you see the unusual. It's like there's almost a little aerial roots coming out of the nodal joints there, which makes it look pretty interesting. This is a good species in mild climates. It's not super cold hardy, but it likes a mild climate. It doesn't like it to be too terribly hot in the summer. If you're in a hot climate, you want to keep it well watered and in maybe a shady spot close to the house or underneath a taller tree or something. It doesn't get super big. I think this one gets maybe 10 or 15 feet tall, but it's got some pretty leaves, kind of cascading foliage on it, and so it's definitely an interesting addition alongside some other varieties. Here is a super popular variety, one of the most popular ornamental bamboo species, Phyllostachys nigra, most commonly referred to as black bamboo. It is a running species, like all Phyllostachys. It's a runner and it is cold hardy. It'll handle the snowy winters for sure. And the culms just have that deep, dark color, kind of a shiny black. And in the contrast to the nice green leaves, it is just a really beautiful plant. There are some other black bamboo species out there that are also really cool. They're more of the tropical varieties that aren't so common as ornamentals, because you need to live in like Hawaii or Key West or something. But Bambusa lako, for example, which is called Timor bamboo, and then there's Java black bamboo, which is a species of Gigantocloa. I forget the species name. It's like Atrovacularius or something. It's a mouthful. Anyway, those two are really neat, really beautiful, big black tropical bamboos, but not so commonly grown because they prefer the tropics. Again, those are Java black bamboo and Timor black. Anytime you have a bamboo named after an island in Indonesia, you can safely assume that it's going to be an impressive species. Speaking of impressive species, take a look at this. This is just one of my favorite pictures of bamboo. Himalayan hookerianus, also known as Himalayan blue bamboo. I'm pretty sure that that's the species in the picture here. Bamboo species are notoriously difficult to identify. There are a few different species of Himalayan calamus that have that blue coloration on the culms. And just so you know, if you plant Himalayan hookerianus, there's no guarantee that your plant will look quite as strikingly beautiful as this one. This is really an exceptional specimen in the picture here. The ones I've seen, you get a few of the culms, maybe half of the culms get a really nice blue shade to them. But this one has been well taken care of. Maybe it gets a little bit of extra shade, maybe a little extra water or something to get extra coloration on it. But um, in any case, there's no guarantee that your specimen from the same species will look quite as beautiful. But a well maintained um, Himalaya Kalamasucarianus is always a beautiful addition. So keep an eye out for that one. It's not super rare, but it's not something you're going to find at Home Depot or Lowe's in the garden section. You might have to dig around and reach out to a bamboo specialist nursery. What else we got? Chocolate bamboo, another one of my favorites. Berinda fungosa. The color on this is definitely distinct. Actually, looks a little bit more like strawberry or raspberry than chocolate, but something about the name chocolate bamboo just sounds too good. So that's what they call it, chocolate bamboo. This one is also it also prefers the cooler, milder climates. It'll handle a little bit of frost, but it's not so happy in the real hot summers. So it's not going to do well in Alabama or Florida so much. But this picture was taken in Northern California. Lots of fog. It doesn't get too hot in the summer. In a shady spot, it'll really thrive. And the colors on there definitely eye-catching. And this is a pretty typical picture. The plant really does look like this. Those colors are the real thing. I took that photo myself, so there were quite a few specimens that looked just like this or very similar. So you can really count on the colors being like that. So great contrast in the garden when you have lots of other lighter shades of yellow and green. That kind of magenta really pops in the garden. So keep an eye out for that one. Dendrocalamus minor is cool. Dendrocalamus is the genus of the giant bamboo species. So this is like the miniature giant Dendrocalamus minor. And unlike most Dendrocalamuses, this one will tolerate a little bit cooler winters. It'll handle a little bit more frost than most of the other tropical Dendrocalamus. This picture was taken in Pismo Beach, California. There's a little nursery there called Mesa Bamboo, and he's growing lots of this stuff. They do get frost there in the winter. It doesn't snow or doesn't get super cold, but they definitely get a few nights where it dips down to like 27, 28 degrees or something. And this bamboo does fine. It's very fast growing, real tight clumps. You can see how tight that clump is there. Nice dense thicket of bamboo. And it doesn't get to be 100 feet tall like other varieties of Dendrocalamus, but it can get pretty big. I think these get 30, 40 feet tall. Definitely impressive. And sometimes they call it ghost bamboo. I think ghost bamboo might be a subspecies, a cultivar of Dendrocalamus minor. And the poles on those get this really cool colorations, kind of really light green, kind of almost bluish, weird coloration. So ghost bamboo, a bit exotic, a bit rare, but keep an eye out for it. So those are some of my favorites. If you're planting a bamboo garden and want to mix it up with some unusual varieties, check those out. One last thing I want to mention is Phyllostachys aurea, golden bamboo. This stuff grows everywhere. I used to say it was my least favorite bamboo just because it's so common and ubiquitous and it just grows like crazy. But it does have its virtues. It is very easy to grow. If you've never grown any bamboo before and you're afraid you're going to kill it because you have a black thumb, plant some of this and you'll be congratulating yourself on growing a hardy plant because these guys are indestructible. It's commonly grown in front of restaurants, like that picture there on the left. It's a Vietnamese restaurant. Lots of golden bamboo on the patio. And it usually gets maybe 10 or 15 feet tall. This picture on the left is actually in Alabama. It grew to giant proportions where it's hot and wet. This golden bamboo can get really, really big. I had never seen golden bamboo that size before. I was a bit incredulous to think that that was a golden bamboo, Phyllostachys aurea, but I spoke to a number of experts, and we came to the conclusion that that is Phyllostachys aurea. Again, bamboo species identification is a bit tricky, but it takes practice, and it helps to know some real experts in the field. So when I'm not sure, I consult with a few people out there that know more about bamboo than I do. If you want to know more about bamboo, please check out bambubatu.com. That's my website, BAMBUBATU. Hundreds of articles, all kinds of free content, all manner of bamboo knowledge related to gardening, carbon sequestration, you name it, all different aspects of farming, growing, processing, and making the most out of bamboo. Hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, make Bamboo Batu your new favorite, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.